Hi, I'm Jamie, and this is Holly, and this is Dementia IQ powered by the James L. West Center. And we're coming to you every week with topics about dementia, caregiving, brain health, you know it. Holly, things I've been thinking about this week with my personal experience when I'm working with a resident or it was my mom, I would say something wrong, I would overreact, and even when I knew better, but that overwhelming, just sometimes nauseating feelings of guilt that come after I do something that I'm just not happy with. What are we supposed to do with those guilty feelings?
Well, Jamie, that's very common for caregivers of those with dementia to have this feeling of guilt. What I'm going to encourage you to do as a grief therapist is to reframe that. Let's really think about that word guilt, because when someone is accused of something, that's when they are found guilty or they're found innocent. And when someone is guilty, typically they've done it intentionally. They do something to cause harm. And my guess is that you didn't intentionally cause harm. So what if we reframed that? This is grief. Grief is loss. And we tend to relate grief to death, but grief is simply loss. So what if we took that word guilt, I'm feeling so guilty, and we actually called it what it really is, which is grief. So let's start to replace the word guilt with grief. And then let's overlay that with another word that starts with a G, grace. Let's change the guilt to grief, and then let's have some grace with ourselves. What if we also treated ourselves like we might treat a friend? We tend to talk to ourselves in a way that we would never talk to another person. So having some forgiveness with ourselves. Now in counseling, one of the things we say is we're on a grief journey is there's two things we have to do with these feelings we're having. If you can name them, you can tame them. So if you can actually say out loud or write in a journal, I am grieving the loss of my loved one who is still very much alive, but is living with dementia. Say it out loud. This is grief that I'm feeling. If you can name it, you can tame it. If you can feel it, you can heal it. This is part of counseling. This is part of walking through grief. And that's what we have to do when we have a loved one with dementia. Something else we need to focus on, and I would encourage you to do, Jamie, is to get back to the connection of husband, wife, mother, daughter, father, son, brother, sister, and focus on today. If we get caught up in the past and we use a lot of words like would've, could've, should've, or I shouldn't have, if only I would have, that is setting us up for depression. And we already have enough going on that the last thing we need to do is to contribute to that ourselves. So forgiveness. Another thing I want you to do is to shield yourself from others who might not be positive or who might be critical of the way that you're choosing to do things right now. So really learn to hold others at an arm's distance that aren't bringing something positive, and just shield yourself from that. You don't need it. And finally, I'm going to encourage you to find a support group. We just happen to have some support groups at the West Center that are open to everyone. We have online groups and we have groups that are in person. And we even have 2 groups now that are specific to the grief of caregiving.
I like that. If you can feel it, you can heal it. I don't always like those feelings because they're uncomfortable and they're hard, but I can heal them. It takes work. Think about what you're going to do differently next time.
Yes.
And I think about it in my head. I did it wrong, or I didn't do it the way I wanted to last time. But next time, I will do it this way, and I visualize it and I think about it, and it's going to be better next time. And it generally is. It's not necessarily always ideal, but I've done better, and my loved one's better, and then we're better. So we're back to that connection you talked about.
Right. And Jamie, so many times what we hear caregivers say when they start taking care of themselves, When they are better, their loved one is better. Now, is the disease better? No. But is the relationship better? Of course it is, because we want to focus on making the connection.
If you want to learn more about coping with caregiver guilt, please click the link below. We have a longer program on our YouTube channel. And remember to subscribe because we're here with you every week. Thank you.